Are we having fun? Hell yeah.
I'm Steph. And I'm Kayla, and we're two best friends coping with life the only way we know how, one adventure and a cocktail at a time.
Well, howdy, y'all. Okay, this is Kayla with Are We Having Fun? I am not with Stephanie today, but I swear she's going to hop on a bonus episode. We just want to update you throughout the week with what's going on, what's crossing our minds, because sometimes these conversations cannot wait until Wednesday. So today I'm going to touch back on my previous trip to Kansas City because I really didn't get to share the breadth of what I did while I was there outside of work. I shared a little bit about the hotel experience and talked to Stephanie a bit about it, but I didn't really get to give you guys like the full scoop on how beautiful Kansas City really is. So I hope you stick around for this episode. And if you're from Kansas City, please share with us your favorite things to do. We're going to have a question on Spotify that you can actually reply to, which is a really cool feature that Spotify allows. So definitely give us your favorite places. And if you haven't been to Kansas City yet, what kinds of things are you looking for? You can reply with that as well. And we would love to hear from you all. So, anyway, I want to talk a little bit about how surprised I was when I went to Kansas City. I had never been there, and I do have some family there. So, they kind of grew up in that area, and I was like, okay, there has to be something I don't know that I need to learn. So I really tried to put myself out there and experience the city instead of just sitting in my hotel room like I'm doing right now. I'm recording from St. Cloud, Minnesota again, which I swear, guys, tomorrow I will explore St. Cloud and I'm going to have a different outlook on it. But anyway, back to Kansas City. So I was surprised to learn that it's called the City of Fountains. So, by the way, I'm taking this information from kchistory.org and visitkc.com. So, if there's anything that you want to look more into, because I don't have all the details to everything and I'm not really making this a long episode, you can check out those websites. They're the official websites for Kansas City. So, anyway, every city has their own name, and that name kind of like gives you a new perspective on the city. So, like for instance, we're from Orlando, so we're called the City Beautiful, and we love to show people downtown Orlando and how beautiful it is when there's like swans everywhere and it's sunshine and blah blah blah. So Kansas City is known as the City of Fountains, and there are over 200 fountains in Kansas City. By the way, Kansas City is like basically two cities in one because there's the Kansas state side and there's the Missouri state side. So when I talk about Kansas City and my experience, I'm mostly talking about Missouri. I did spend a little bit of time in Kansas, but they are almost like night and day between the two sides. It's like divided by the river, but it's all considered Kansas City. So, back to the City of Fountains. Over 200 fountains, and I made it a mission to see as many fountains as I could within the short amount of time I had off. So, I'm going to post some pictures about that on our Instagram, which is at Are We Having Fun Pod. And they were beautiful. Every fountain has their own charm, their own beauty, and their own theme. So they're all over the city, and some areas have more fountains than others, but it is just really cool to like know that this is what the city is known for, and then going on a scavenger hunt to find them. Oh my gosh. And I found more than I even expected because I was starting with the fountains, but I ended up at this World War II memorial, which was really cool. And I got to see some really cool monuments, which I'm going to share as well. Um, but it was kind of close, so I didn't get to learn really about the whole situation there with the World War II memorial. But I don't know. I think that stuff is really neat. And, throughout history, different states are given gifts, which is just, the world is always changing, and a gift is like a sign of peace. So I think it's really fun to learn about that. But anyway, so I want to talk a little bit about these fountains and why it's even like a thing. Why is it a thing? So in the 1800s, they were just normal fountains. They were just functional, like for dogs and horses to drink out of when they were on a walk. Okay, like something as simple as that. But there started popping up so many that it became an official thing. And there are actually like city owned fountains now. And they made it a thing to like, it was almost like a tourist attraction. They made it a widely known thing, like, hey, come visit our fountains in the 70s. And now these like fountains are just artistic centerpieces of the city. So I don't know. I just find that so cool. And fountains are beautiful, okay? Like, think about when you go to Rome, you want to go take a picture at the fountain. I don't know what it's called, but like you throw a penny and you make a wish, whatever, you fall in love, whatever the saying is, or the idiom or whatever. Um, Adage. I don't know what the word is. Somebody help me. This is what happens when I don't have Stephanie to bounce off of, but you know what I mean. Like a Lizzie McGuire movie moment, you go throw your coin in the fountain and you get true love. Like that's what you think about with fountains making wishes, and to know that there's over 200 around the city, it's just like overwhelming, but so beautiful. So anyway, I tried to see as many neighborhoods as possible during the scavenger hunt, and there are just way too many because Kansas City is a pretty big area. And, downtown is obviously the most historic area, but there are so many beautiful neighborhoods with their own charm. And so, besides downtown, there's Midtown, which is a little more poppin', a little more trendy. That's where some cool bars are. Then there's Country Club Plaza, which the locals call Plaza. And that is really fun, especially if you're a tourist or if you just love retail therapy like me, because all of the awesome high-end restaurants and shopping areas are right there. It's like basically an outdoor mall, and everything you could ever think of is right there. So I spent a lot of time there. I think I'm just like naturally a tourist at heart, growing up in Florida, and then New York, and then Duluth. Like it's all like touristy. And I just love it. I fall for it. I love a good like marketing ploy to get you to like stick around, shop, and have fun. So, had a lot of fun at Plaza. I ate at Brio for lunch. I was really craving some Brio because I don't have that where I live. So, really enjoyed that Brio moment. I think if I didn't share the espresso martini already, I will share it because that was so, so good. Anyway, there's also Crossroads Art District, and let me talk a little bit about this art scene. It was so cool in this city. I was not expecting to visit these amazing little like areas. There were jazz lounges, like there's a really cool jazz scene in Kansas City. Also barbecue, which are like two of my favorite things. So I did not know that Kansas City was known for barbecue as well as jazz. And this jazz lounge I went to was so nice and refreshing because people are just sitting there at tables genuinely enjoying the music with their friends. And I feel like you don't really get that nowadays. Like nowadays there's like a stigma towards jazz. Oh, that's for old people, or oh, like why would I want to sit here and listen to that? I want to party. But like this was so classy, and usually classy means older people in my head, but like it was younger people that were just there to enjoy it. It was like a hip, trendy thing. I don't know. I've never experienced that. Coming from New York, like the jazz scene is more old. especially on Long Island. So it was just really refreshing to see that. And then I went to this other place that I could not even tell you what the name of is. But it was like a club scene, but there was like a DJ doing like his set, and it was like a private event, I think, that I kind of just like worked my way into. But there were legitimate sculptures that were for sale, just like casually there at the club. So what a crazy cool thing to mix together. And I think I have a picture of that as well. There was like the theme of the trip was like Audrey Hepburn. I kept seeing like pictures on the walls at restaurants I was going to, and then like this sculpture of Audrey Hepburn. So it's just like really, I was really surprised in Kansas City at all these little things that just made it so unique. And then about Crossroads Arts District history. Guys, I did not know that Kansas City was such a hot spot for the film industry. And you know me, well, if you don't know me, I am pursuing acting. Obviously, I have this podcast. And so I'm just obsessed with film and TV and pop culture and entertainment and yada, yada, yada. So I looked up this history and I was surprised to see that this was home to distribution centers for like the prime time of Hollywood, 1920s. Like when you think of Hollywood, like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, is like the 60s and prior. Okay. So this was like the 1920s. Like think about the 20s, the roaring 20s. How amazing. Like what an awesome time. So also like not a good time in terms of whatever. I'm not going to get into that. But it was home to these distribution centers for some of the most prominent studios for Hollywood, including MGM, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Universal, Disney, United Artists. You've probably heard of all these companies somewhere along the lines. Obviously, now these are what make Hollywood, like Los Angeles Hollywood, what they are today, and Hollywood, the film industry, what they are today. So it is so cool to see where these stemmed back in the day. Kansas City, dude, in the middle of the country, in the middle of the plains, like that is so crazy. And then to top it off, Walt Disney, okay? Not only were the distribution center for Walt Disney there, but or Disney Pictures there, but Walt Disney himself grew up in Kansas City. And that's where he made his start. Like the icon, Walt Disney, started in Kansas City. He left apparently to go serve in World War One, and then he came back, became an artist for an advertising agency, and then started his own company, his own animation business called Laugh-O-Gram. Okay, so this guy, this, like I said, this icon started this tiny business in 1920 called Laugh-O-Gram, which actually went bankrupt before he moved to Los Angeles to become the big name that he is today. But in this little studio was the birth of what we know as Mickey Mouse. Like, okay, if you know me and Stephanie, if you don't know us yet, we are from Orlando. We eat, sleep, and breathe Disney and Universal and SeaWorld. And to know that Mickey Mouse started in Kansas City and I was walking amongst the greats, Walt Disney and so many others, hello, we're freaking out, okay? So I just, what I'm trying to say is Kansas City really impressed me, and I will definitely go back. And I am bringing Stephanie with me. There's actually a Lowe's Hotel in Kansas City, and so you bet we're going to end up staying at one. Um, so if you're from Kansas City, if you're familiar with Kansas City, please use those Spotify responses to let us know what we need to do when we go back. And also, if you don't have Spotify, if you listen on Apple Podcasts, that's fine too. You can email us or DM us. Our email is arewehavingfunpod@gmail.com. And then our Instagram is @arewehavingfunpod. So you can get a hold of us that way. We will answer and we will share your favorite things to do. I mean, the only thing about recording on my phone is I get cut off when I get phone calls. But Kansas City, dude, what a surprise. We will be back. And you are not going to want to miss next week's episode. We've had some interesting things we want to talk about going further into kind of nostalgia and these trends that are coming back. It's like a what is that called? A rolling ball effect. The ball is rolling. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Pinball effect. No. Ugh, come on, you guys help me out. This is why I need Stephanie. But anyway, our episodes for the last 2 weeks have really got the ball rolling, got our minds turning for some fun topics that we can't wait to share. And there's some exciting things coming up in our personal lives that we want to share with you all. So catch you on the next episode when we have Stephanie back on Wednesday, and continue to rate us 5 stars on Apple and Spotify and all of the fun things. So thank you so much. This is Are We Having Fun? Bye.